I'm glad to introduce you to Matthew Hisrich, okay, who is going to talk about the movie. No, it was not the movie, sorry. Okay, well, he's going to talk about Back to the Future, discovering the importance of Austrian economics as minor literature. Okay, so go on.
Thank you. Good evening. I think I should start off by just thanking the Hayek Foundation and the Bosses Foundation for hosting the conference, and also my seminary, the Earlham School of Religion, and the Acton Institute, and also the Atlas Foundation for making it possible for me to come here. Now that I have that out of the way, I think I owe everybody a few apologies. First off, just that I'm a typical American and I come to Argentina and present all in English. So I have to apologize about that. Also, I'm not an economist. I'm actually a recent graduate of seminary. So that leads to my third and hopefully final apology. I'm going to try to discuss postmodern philosophy and theology at a conference of Austrian economists. I know that all of this may cause you to question the worth of what I'm going to say, so I understand that, but I'm a fan of full disclosure, so we have that out of the way now. Besides, I happen to think that there may be good cause to explore the intersection of these disciplines. Because Austrian economics takes as its starting point not the results of human action, but human action itself. By its very nature, it connects with and spills over into all of those areas of exploration seeking to understand the human condition. So, if you're willing to bear with me, I'd like to first present a brief overview of the Austrian and neoclassical frameworks. Not so much because I think you are unaware of those frameworks, but to kind of trace along with you the line of thought that I am attempting to draw between Austrian concepts and their place within postmodern understanding. Let's start. Economics, argues Ludwig von Mises, must not be relegated to classrooms and statistical offices, and must not be left to esoteric circles. It's the philosophy of human life, action, and concerns everybody and everything. It's the pith of civilization and of man's human existence. Now, one must take with a grain of salt those defending their own vocations in such passionate language. It's difficult to disagree that whether or not we realize it, economics affects each and every one of us. And as such, it behooves us to become familiar with its basic tenets and principles. And yet, unfortunately, the study and comprehension of the subject is something that has long been relegated to exactly what Mises was warning about: statistical offices and esoteric circles. The high-level calculations associated with economic study at the graduate level distance the observer from the observed and create hermetic environments aimed with alchemical diligence at the impossible, predicting the future impact of economic action. There are those, however, who speak against this pursuit from within the field of economics itself. Mises was one of those figures. The school of thought that he helped build, Austrian economics, uses the language of neoclassical economics, the dominant view in the field, to critique the conclusions reached by that language and the direction taken to arrive there. It is in this manner that the language of the Austrian school serves the function of a minor literature, a postmodern concept that highlights the role of voices sidelined by the mainstream. The postmodern Scylla and Charybdis is a particularly unnerving one, says theologian Sally McFaig. Say something big with conviction and be accused of essentialism or universalism. Say something small with modesty and be accused of insignificance or triviality. The postmodern alternatives, however, hide a greater calling. say something small with conviction, and listen to others. While both neoclassical and Austrian economic thought are products of the modern era, many of the views of the Austrian school, I will argue, better mesh with postmodern understandings of reality. As neoclassical economics struggles to retain relevance in a world increasingly skeptical of its claims to universal truth, its advocates would do well to open the door to discussion with those of the Austrian school. We would all benefit from such a discussion. Now, economists generally acknowledge that the origins of the Austrian school rest with Karl Menger's 1871 publication, Principles of Economics. In this book, Menger highlighted the subjective nature of economic experience in the marketplace, pointing out that not only the nature, but also the measure of value is subjective. Goods always have value to certain economizing individuals, and this value is also determined only by those individuals. What the subjectivism of the 1870s challenged, explains Israel Kirzner, was the basic, if unstated, classical tenet that ultimately the only determinant of social economic phenomena is the objective physical environment. Humanity merely responded to the world as it was. Human will and imagination, in other words, were of little value in classical understanding. And value was either inherent in an object or could be supplemented by the amount of labor applied to the creation of goods. In contrast, Kirzner states that what ultimately determines the economic phenomena that we observe in the real world is, in this Mengerian vision, not the physical conditions governing production, but the needs of human beings. Rather than merely responding to given variables, then, humans determine production methods and the assignment of market values to goods and incomes to owners and agents of production. Now, not everybody thought this was the case. Other economists, such as William Stanley Jevons and Leon Walras, took off from a similar point as Menger. They, however, began to push for the mathematization of the discipline. According to Richard Ebling, the successes of the natural sciences in the 18th and 19th centuries in developing a set of analytical and empirical tools for understanding and predicting an increasing variety of physical phenomena intimidated and persuaded a growing number of social scientists that if their fields were to be real and true sciences, they had to adopt and apply these same scientific methods and techniques to their own disciplines.